Hey guys, Kaylee here, and welcome back to the Honeystead. I'm starting to run low on a couple of my capsules, and since we are starting to really introduce more about our herbalism and what we've learned and what we're doing, I figured this would probably be an awesome opportunity to kind of show you guys how I make my own capsules. Tonight I'm going to capsule beetroot powder. Now this is not from our beets, but I do plan on doing this in the future. I do plan on growing our own beets, freeze drying them, turning them into powder so that I can capsule my own to start to incorporate more into my life, just like we plan on doing with the cranberries that we have actually freeze dried, and I'll also be capsuling them soon. Beetroot is packed with many essential nutrients like vitamin B9, magnesium, potassium, iron, vitamin C, and beetroot can also lower your blood pressure and improve your blood flow. And I'm going to show you guys how we do this. It's actually kind of cool. Now first I'm going to start out by counting out 100 capsules. I'm using a gelatin capsule. This is what they look like. They're clear. You can see that it's very distinct. You've got a body and then the top. You can kind of see the difference between the two in sizing. I'm going to go ahead and separate them out and just put them in two separate bowls and make it a lot easier. So I'm going to take the tops and I'm going to set it here, and I'm going to focus on the body. Now I'm going to take this tray right here, which basically is called a body plate, and I'm going to set it right up on top of this. You can see this little device has little springs in it, and I'll show you why. But then I'm going to take, of course I dropped a few. Let's see. I think I only dropped one. So I'm gonna go ahead and just, put that in there. Then I'm gonna shake it. Sometimes it's a little easier to just do this by hand. But basically, you're gonna wanna make sure that each one is full. You can kind of see some that aren't going in. It's because there is already one in there. So basically, then I just kind of either come back in and reshake all the way. And honestly, this works well, or you can, individually do it and then you know that you're good to go. So that they're all filled. Now I'm gonna put on the spill guard. I'm gonna take my powder and I'm gonna go ahead and just sprinkle it. Might do this in a couple of parts. And I have a spreader that I basically do is just make sure each capsule is filled. If there's any left over, which I might have actually over poured, but not that big of a deal. We will save it. I do leave a little bit up on top though, because then I take my tamp and place it right in. And then you gotta be firm with it, and you'll see why. So I pressed all that down, and I'll just run this back through again. You want to make sure that the capsules are as full as you can have them. Okay. I'll go ahead and tamp it one more time. Why not? We're here. And honestly, you can do this a couple of times. It's not gonna hurt it at all. So even if it takes, a few times to make sure that they are as pressed as possible. It's up to you. This is why I like this, because there's a little opening that if I know I'm gonna have any extra, I can just go right back into the bag and seal it up and save it for later. I'm gonna set this aside and I'm gonna get my capping plate, which each plate does tell you what it is, so it makes it a little bit easier. I'm gonna take my capping plate and I'm gonna put it in the frame plate. And now I'm gonna take all of my tops. I'm gonna get all my tops upright exactly the way they need to be, because that is gonna be one of the last steps. Once they're all upright, then I'm gonna take my frame plate, my middle plate, I'm gonna place it right on that. And then remove my frame plate, set it aside. You'll be able to see the domes of the capsules. This is where it's fun. I'm gonna place it directly on top, make a sandwich, okay? Let's get a close up. This is where it's really fun. Okay, so you can see all of the bottom of the capsules, and I've got the tops up here. And so now all I need to do is just push down. And there we go. And so you are left with this tray of really nice looking capsules. Probably could have gotten them a little bit fuller, but I think we're gonna be okay. So that's what they look like. By being able to put dried powder herbs into capsules, it really does open up the opportunity for many of my family members to be able to actually ingest some of the herbs. I know for like my children, taste is kind of everything. So for me to be able to do this, it does help quite a bit, because they're able to take this and they can't taste it. And I almost forgot to add that the device that I'm actually using is called Capsulate, and it is by Herbifare. I'm also using Herbifare's powder, but you can use all different types of powders, even the ones that you do yourself. I definitely appreciate Herbifare for reaching out to me and asking me to test trial their product. I've had it for a couple of months and I've used it many times actually, but this is the first video that I've ever actually done sharing with you guys how I use my Capsulate and what I do. I wanted to make sure the product was actually really good before I just say, hey, yes, this is great. Now, all I'm gonna do is put these in a jar and store them for later. And as always, don't be afraid to get your hands dirty and learn something old. Bye guys.